Hello, this is History Shorts with the Artifactual Scholar. Today, I'll be talking about Juneteenth. In June 2021, President Biden signed into law an act designating June 19th as Juneteenth National Independence Day. Our newest federal holiday, the first since the designation of Martin Luther King Day in 1986, has a history that stretches back more than 150 years. The story of Juneteenth begins during the Civil War. In September of 1862, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation that granted freedom to enslaved people in the states that were in rebellion against the United States. However, enforcement of the proclamation depended on Union military victories and occupation of the seceded states. In April 1865, after 4 years of warfare and destruction, the fighting in the eastern states had come to an end, yet conflict still raged west of the Mississippi River. Finally, on June 2, 1865, the last major Confederate army, the Army of the Trans-Mississippi, surrendered. On June 19, 1865, Union forces under the command of General Gordon Granger entered Galveston, Texas. That day, Granger issued General Order No. 3, declaring, "The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free." The newly freed people reacted to the news with spontaneous joy. Emancipation had at last reached Texas. The following year, 1866, the freedmen of Galveston and other parts of Texas commemorated their liberation with small local celebrations. These jubilees often centered on church meetings, the wearing of new clothes, musical performances, and readings of the Emancipation Proclamation. Gradually, the Juneteenth observances spread to other parts of the South. In the early 20th century, during the Great Migration, as African Americans moved out of the rural South to cities in the North and West, the celebration of Juneteenth grew. By the 1950s and 60s, however, Juneteenth was subsumed in the larger civil rights movement and largely forgotten. Despite that, the day was still celebrated in Texas, and by the 1970s had had a revival in many parts of the country. In 1978, a Juneteenth event in Minneapolis, Minnesota attracted around 100,000 people, and in 1979, Texas declared June 19th to be a state holiday. During the late 1980s and 1990s, recognition of Juneteenth grew more widespread as African American artists and activists embraced and promoted the holiday, and references to the history appeared in mainstream media. Congress in 1996 and 1997 passed resolutions acknowledging Juneteenth, and in 1997, a flag commemorating emancipation was created by Ben Haith, with later additions by Lisa Jean Graff. By the early decades of the 21st century, many cities and states had official recognition of Juneteenth, but the day was not yet a federal holiday. Activists and civic leaders such as Lula Briggs Galloway and Opal Lee advocated for a federal Juneteenth holiday, a goal that was ultimately achieved in 2021. This has been History Shorts. Thanks for watching.